Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've been wanting to demystify the incredibly complex, heavy-hitting core loop of Brass Birmingham so you can, finally sit down at the table and play with actual confidence, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're putting together the ultimate how-to-play guide for beginners. We're going to strip away all that rulebook confusion and focus entirely on the foundational strategies and mechanics you absolutely need to know. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Take on the roles of competing entrepreneurs during the Industrial Revolution. This really sets our thematic stage perfectly. In Brass Birmingham, you aren't just pushing wooden pieces around a board. You're a competing entrepreneur trying to build a massive, sprawling industrial empire during literally one of the most transformative periods in human history. Every single decision you make is all about fueling that industrial machine.
Now, to avoid any of that classic rulebook anxiety, here's exactly how we're breaking this down. First, welcome to the revolution. Second, connections and your network. Third, the 6 core actions. Fourth, coal, iron, and beer. And finally, surviving the 2 eras. All right, part 1, welcome to the revolution, the ultimate goal. So before you build a single cotton mill or lay down a single canal, you really need to know what you're actually working towards, right? And that brings us to the number 2. This entire game takes place across exactly 2 distinct eras, the Canal era and the Rail era. Each of these eras is made up of rounds where players take turns, and your ultimate goal? It's actually incredibly simple. You just need to score the most victory points by the end of these 2 eras. Seriously, that's it. If you can manage your industries and outpace your opponents in victory points across both halves of the game, you win the whole shebang. Moving on to part 2, connections and your network, the golden rule.
So, the crucial point is this. Before touching a single piece, there's a foundational concept beginners almost always get wrong. What exactly is your network? Well, it turns out a location is only part of your network if it already contains one of your industry tiles, or if it's directly adjacent to at least one of your personal link tiles. This definition is absolutely crucial, guys, because it dictates almost every single action you're going to take in the game. Bottom line, if you don't have a tile there, and you don't have a link touching it, it is not in your network.
Now, we really have to clarify a vital difference here between being connected and being in your network. Connected just means there's an uninterrupted line of link tiles between 2 locations on the board. And honestly, it doesn't matter whose color those links are. Anyone's pieces can connect locations. But your network? That is strictly where you personally have a footprint. Connections allow resources to move across the board using anyone's links, but your network determines where you are personally allowed to build. It's a huge distinction that'll save you a lot of headaches. Part 3. The 6 core actions. Your entrepreneurial toolkit. In Brass Birmingham, you're going to perform 2 actions per turn, well, except in the very first round of the game where everybody only gets 1 action. Here is your full toolkit to choose from. You can build an industry tile. You can network by placing a link, like a boat or a train. You can take a loan of £30 from the bank to fund your empire, which does drop your income level but gives you that sweet immediate cash. You can develop to remove low-level tiles from your board. You can sell goods to a merchant, or you can scout to grab wildcards. Let's zoom in on the most critical ones you'll be using constantly. The build action is absolutely the heart of your strategy. Step 1, you must discard a valid card from your hand. Now, if it's a location card, you can build in that specific city, even if it's not in your network. But if it's an industry card, you can build that specific industry, but only in a location that is already part of your network. Step 2, you pay the money, the coal, or the iron required. And step 3, you must place the lowest available level industry tile from your player board onto the map. No way around it, you can't just skip to the good stuff. Well, actually, scratch that, you can, but only if you use our next action. And that's where the develop action comes in. This is a real game changer of a shortcut. By discarding a card and spending 1 iron cube per tile, you can permanently remove 1 or 2 of the lowest level tiles right off your player mat and just return them to the box. This lets you literally skip those outdated technologies so your future build actions jump straight to the higher yielding, much more profitable tiles. All right, part 4, coal, iron, and beer, the engine of the economy. Resource management is easily the most confusing yet totally fascinating part of the game for beginners. Now, what's really interesting about this is how the historical theme perfectly justifies the mechanics. It makes it so much easier to remember. Think about it. When you need coal to build something, you absolutely must be able to trace a fully connected path of links from your building site to the nearest coal mine. But iron, historically, iron was required in much lower volumes and was way easier to transport.
So in the game, iron can just magically teleport to you. You can spend iron from absolutely anywhere on the board without needing a single connection. And then, of course, we have beer, the absolute lifeblood of the industrial working class. Beer is usually required to successfully perform a sell action to flip your cotton mills, manufacturing, or pottery tiles. To use it, you gotta take beer from a connected location on the board. However, if you own the brewery yourself, you can spend your own beer without needing any connection. But here is the massive, undeniable incentive for all three of these resources. Emptying any resource tile of its cubes or barrels instantly flips it over. This gives the owner a permanent income boost and a chunk of end-of-era victory points. When looking at these rules, a massive strategy realization emerges. Always try to consume resources, whether it's coal, iron, or beer, from your own tiles first. The game's economy highly rewards the smartest opportunist. By eating up your own resources, you are actively helping yourself get closer to flipping those tiles for those sweet income bumps and victory points, rather than, helping your opponents empty theirs. Let's move to part 5 and see how this all builds up. Surviving the two eras, from canals to railways.
The shift from canals to railways is a massive turning point that happens exactly halfway through the game. When the draw deck runs out and players' hands are empty, the canal era ends. You score, and the rules radically change. In the canal era, you're building boats on blue lines, you're restricted to a maximum of 1 tile per location, and all your level 1 industry tiles are wiped completely off the board at the end of the era. Boom, they're outdated technologies, gone. But in the rail era, you build train tracks, you can stack multiple tiles in a single location, you can actually build 2 rail links in a single action by spending beer and extra cash. And any level 2 or higher tiles you build, they remain on the board forever. At the end of both the canal era and the rail era, you're going to pause and tally the score. First, you score your links. You get 1 victory point for every gold symbol printed on the locations directly adjacent to your links. Then, you score the victory points printed on the bottom left corner of all your successfully flipped industry tiles. Keep in mind, unflipped tiles score you absolutely nothing. Tally it all up, and the player with the most points wins the game. So what does this all mean? As you sit down to plan your industrial empire, you have to ask yourself a crucial question. Will you push hard to dominate the canals early and build an immediate lead, or will you aggressively develop past those level 1 tiles and wait to truly rule the board during the railway era? The strategy is entirely in your hands. Thanks for joining me in this explainer, and good luck building your empire.